Hello and welcome to Sports Fan Entertainment here, live for Tighten Up Thursdays on Sports Fan Entertainment as we inch closer and closer to the NFL free agency period. And more importantly, actually, to me, slightly, we'll see, but maybe the free agency deadline. Oh, no, sorry, not the free agency deadline, the franchise tag deadline before free agency. Because for the Tennessee Titans, that might be the more important story. It depends what happens in free agency. But the franchise tag deadline, let's at least agree on this. It is a very important deadline as well as the free agency period in and of itself, because I'm not sure how active we're going to be in terms of free agency outside of the quarterback position, maybe. But the franchise tag will be used. I mean, that is something I have contended for quite some time on this channel. So we are going to see when it comes to that next week, and the franchise tag deadline will be before I go live next week. So we'll be able to analyze who we franchise tag, because again, I believe we're going to franchise tag somebody, and we might transition tag somebody, and we might do both. Because according to the CBA, apparently the last year of the CBA, the collective bargaining agreement, teams are allowed to do both transition tag and franchise tag two players, right? One each. Maybe we do that. I don't know. It's going to be interesting. We've already talked about that. I think we'll ultimately franchise right now Derrick Henry, and then we'll see what happens with Ryan Tannehill, especially with the Tom Brady rumors. But with that said, let's get into the rumors. Okay, so there's a lot of rumors. There's conflicting reports about Ryan Tannehill and Tom Brady. Let's get into that now, and then we'll get into the other rumor we heard this week, and then we'll get into the offensive free agent targets. So let's start with that conflicting reports. So it's conflicting reports. Ryan Tannehill, Tom Brady. You hear one ESPN analyst saying, well, I'm hearing that they're going to let Ryan Tannehill test the market, that, this Tom Brady rumors are real. Then you might hear an NFL network like Ian Rappaport today said, no, they want to re-sign Ryan Tannehill. It's all smoke. They want to re-sign Ryan Tannehill. You'll hear Jeff Darlington, who's very close to this Tom Brady situation, tell you that Tom Brady is leaving New England. And let me tell you, I believe that to be true. And if Tom Brady is indeed leaving New England, I believe we are at least the top 5 of this list, and I would argue top 3. I think number 1 is the LA Chargers, and my prediction would be that he would go to the LA Chargers. That would be my prediction. Okay, that's my prediction right now. However, I believe he would also be in the running with the Las Vegas Raiders as probably number 2, but maybe even us as number 2 over them. I think it'd be tied between us and the Raiders, honestly, for the rest of the top 3. And then I think someone else is going to get into that conversation. It might be the 49ers. It might be the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It might be the Indianapolis Colts. But right now, I'm thinking Chargers number 1, definitively. And then I'm thinking Las Vegas Raiders, and the Tennessee Titans mixed for number 2. So, I think Brady's gone. And with Brady gone, I think flirtation is going to happen between he and the Tennessee Titans if they do not go into the free agency period with Ryan Tannehill under contract in some form or fashion. It might be the franchise tag. It might be a long-term extension. But if Ryan Tannehill is not under contract for 2020, they will talk to Tom Brady. Guarantee. I don't think they're going to go into free agency saying, yeah, we're going into free agency because we're so interested in Phillip Rivers, or we're so interested in Jameis Winston, or we're so interested in Teddy Bridgewater. They're going into free agency if Ryan Tannehill is not the quarterback because they envision Tom Brady as the quarterback. That's the plan. That's what they would have in motion. What do I believe? I believe what I told you all 2 weeks ago. And I believe it's actually perfect for John Robinson right now that these Tom Brady rumors are circulating. And I think he has a lot to do with it. I think Tom Brady, testing the market, leaving New England, he's using this to his advantage to push down the price of Ryan Tannehill. And I think we're only talking about a couple $1 million here, but when you have to re-sign Derrick Henry and you still want to re-sign Jack Conklin, those couple millions of dollars matter. So they're trying to talk Ryan Tannehill down. He probably started at $35 million a year, number 1 quarterback in the league. They would love to have him at 26, 27, 28 million. That's what they would love to have, and I think ultimately that's probably what they will have. I expect Ryan Tannehill to sign. What I said a couple weeks ago, I think I said $30 million a year. I think I said 4 years, 100, and I think I said 4 years, 128 actually, for $27 million a year. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's what I said. And I'll stick with whatever I said. I'm pretty sure that's what I said, so I'll stick with that. It could be 30, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be like 27, 28. I feel like that's the more fair number. I feel like with their flirtation of Tom Brady, that has definitely got him outside of the $30 million plus range. But we'll see. It's going to be close, but we're just talking about a couple million. And relative to the ginormous contract that it will be, I don't think that's much of a big deal. And I do think we're also talking about a 3-year extension versus a 4-year extension. 5 years off the table. But I do believe there is probably a sticky point as well in terms of 3 years versus 4 years. Personally, I would love to re-sign him for 3. I would love for 3. And here's a great reason why that I thought of this week. So if Ryan Tannehill played poorly next season, right, this is something that could happen. I don't think it would happen. But let's say it happened. How long of a leash would he have? Right, so if Ryan Tannehill came into next season, did not play well, how long would he have before the Tennessee Titans, by the neck, yanked him out like a Disney cartoon? Okay, yanked him out like a boomerang cartoon. How long would it take? What are we talking, 4 to 8 games? Probably at least 6, but 6 to 8 games before he is yanked out. You cannot give to me a 4-year extension to a guy that you might yank half the season. Now, you can give it to Deshaun Watson, because if Deshaun Watson plays poorly for half the year, you got to start him the whole year and probably into the next year. You got to see at least like a year and a quarter of bad play before you yank Deshaun Watson. You got to see at least a year of bad play again from Jared Goff before you yank him. Another year at least of Carson Wentz. A year at least. Plus already great play we've seen from Russell Wilson and Patrick Mahomes. They have 2 years, honestly, of bad play. Ryan Tannehill is 8 weeks, and he's pulled. He's gone. So are you going to give a 4-year extension to a guy that if he plays poorly for half the year, he's yanked? No, you give that to Deshaun Watson, because Deshaun Watson has a year of a leash. He has a year of a leash. Carson Wentz has a year of a leash. Jared Goff has a year of a leash. Ryan Tannehill will not have a year, because let me tell you this. I don't care if Tannehill is a quarterback. He probably will be. I'm predicting that he will be. There will be a decent backup quarterback in Tennessee. It's not going to be Marcus Mariota, but it's probably going to be a decently high draft pick, at least the 4th round, or, a nice backup that, let's see. I mean, we went through the quarterback names, but if Jameis Winston can't find a starting job, he may end up here. Bridgewater thinks he's going to find a starting job. I don't know. He's more confident than I am in that. We'll see about that. We'll see some other quarterbacks matriculate. Wherever Brady goes, I'm sure that team's going to have to drop a quarterback or trade him. We're going to have a decent backup quarterback in Tennessee. Phillip Rivers might end up being a backup next year. I don't think so, but it's possible. We're going to have a decent backup quarterback next year. And Tannehill's leash is not going to be long enough for a 4-year deal. And just ask the Jacksonville Jaguars, who only paid Nick Foles $88 million, only $22 million per year. But when Gardner Minshew came in, and Foles didn't even play, okay? They already wanted to stick with Minshew because the Foles leash was never that long. And that was only $22 million a year. That was not the 27 at least that will be required for Ryan Tannehill. Okay, so that's just something to consider. But I'm sticking with my prediction 2 weeks ago that they're going to stick with Tannehill. They're going to resign Tannehill. They're using the Tom Brady rumors to their advantage, and I think they're kind of interested. I don't think the interest is complete and total BS. Don't get me wrong. But I think they want to re-sign Ryan Tannehill. John Robinson is interested in building a long-term team. I don't think he's interested in a little short-term run. But as I discussed 2 weeks ago, I'd kind of be into it. As long as we got a young quarterback that we can groom behind Brady. I know that Patriots did this 3 times, and all of them ended up going elsewhere. Now Jarrett Stidham isn't even that good. But I think for us, we'd have to. I mean, come on, he's 43 years old. You'd have to get a young budding quarterback behind Thomas Brady. And then we move on to rumor number 2, and that is that the Titans are apparently interested in Jadeveon Clowney. And I can't remember who reported this. I want to say it was someone on NFL Network, I want to say. I can't remember exactly, though. I'm interested. Okay, and we're going to go into defensive free agent targets next week. I just don't see how the hell this is going to happen. I mean, how are we going to pay Jadeveon Clowney $18 million plus a year? That's what he wants. Having let go of Jack Conklin and probably a Derrick Henry or something. At least Logan Ryan as well. You probably have to let go of Conklin and Ryan in order to get Jadeveon Clowney in here. And I'd be into it because let me tell you, and people are discounting and discrediting Jadeveon Clowney and how good of a player he is. This guy is a beast. You need to watch the games. I know people don't want to watch games. I know people love fantasy football. I know that's what people love to do. I just encourage you once to watch a football game. That's not a Tennessee Titans game. I know the Titans are great. We're Titans. I encourage you to sit down and watch a Seattle Seahawks game. Sit down and watch a Houston Texans game when he was on the Texans. The guy's a beast. He's disruptive, and he opens things up for the rest of the defense. So imagine this big, brooding Jadeveon Clowney, who at the very least you can agree with me is an absolute stud against the run and needs to be game planned for against the pass as well. Right? You can't just run to his side. You can't just dedicate no resources to blocking him. You have to dedicate resources for Jadeveon Clowney every single play is on the field. Right? How is this guy not going to help Harold Landry? How is this guy not going to help Big Jeffrey Simmons? How is this guy not going to help Drill Casey? This provides the big outside linebacking athletic stud that we need on that second level to pair with now the big athletic stud we have on the first level, the defensive line in Jeffrey Simmons. Now we have our two more finesse but very technically skilled guys in Harold Landry and Drill Casey. And you also have your big, brooding, and also decently skilled as well, don't get me wrong, guys in Jadeveon Clowney and Jeffrey Simmons. That's a match made in heaven, y'all. As Drill Casey is, face it, on the little bit of the decline. Okay, just a little bit. Had a great playoff game against the Patriots. Little bit of a decline. It's perfect. It's absolutely perfect. So, I'd be into it. I don't know how the hell this is going to work out, as the cap space that we currently have is down to now $47 million, estimated. Let's not worry about the nickels and dimes. Estimated $47 million, and we haven't cut anybody yet. We're waiting on the cuts to happen. Hey, when are you going to cut Delaney Walker? Are we going to cut Delaney Walker? When are you going to cut Daquan Jones? Are you even going to cut him? We're just sitting around waiting for these cuts. Ain't no one being cut. Yeah, the cap space still only at $47 million. We going franchise? Well, what's going on? So the cap is too much of a mess right now for me to actually buy into this, honestly. But man, I would love to see it. So, with that said, we're going to move on to offensive free agent targets for the Tennessee Titans this offseason. And we're going to start with the running back position. Now, Derrick Henry is an upcoming free agent, and I do not believe that he will hit the market. That is something that I do not believe. But let's just get the names out of the way, and let us start with Melvin Gordon of the LA Chargers, a man who held out for a good portion of this season, came back, was not quite himself. Definitely was not his 2018 version, but he was similar to his 2015 and 16 version. Melvin Gordon, and I don't blame him entirely because the LA Chargers offensive line over the years has been awful. It's been dreadful, and this past year was probably one of the worst, honestly. And that's saying something. But outside of 2018, he hasn't been a dominant back in this league. And that 2018 was fantastic. Okay, that 2018 he had was fantastic. It was great. He was a beast. It was, oh my God. Then he wanted his money. He couldn't get it. What Melvin Gordon will you get? And I think you would get a good one. And the good thing is his price is now lower than it would be for Derrick Henry. I mean, Melvin Gordon is going to get anywhere from $2 to even $6 million less per year than Derrick Henry. Probably only 2 or 3, but he could go as high as $6 million less per year than Derrick Henry. I think he's looking at, someone's going to pay him, I think, $10 million a year. I think he's looking at a 4-year, $40 million a year deal, maybe a 3-year, $30 million a year deal. Or not $30 million a year, but 3-year, $30 million deal. I think that's what he's looking at, that type of contract. Whereas Derrick Henry is looking at 4 years, 60, or 3 years, 45. Right? So that's saving some money right there. That's saving $15 million over the span of 3 years, or saving, what's the quick math on that? What I say, 4 years, 40, or saving $20 million over the span of 4 years. Intriguing, as Melvin Gordon is a better receiving back than Derrick Henry. But what you will never say is you will never see Melvin Gordon literally run your team to the playoffs, literally carry you not only to the playoffs, but to a divisional and wild card game. That difference of 2 to 3 million, maybe as high as 6 even, I'll take, and I'll keep Derrick Henry over that. Okay, so I think Derrick Henry is more worth than Melvin Gordon, especially the fact that Melvin Gordon, 4 of his 5 years, is it 5 years in the league? Yeah, I want to say 4 of his 5 years in the league. He hasn't even broken 4 yards a carry. I'll stick with my Derrick Henry. On that echelon, I have Kareem Hunt listed next, but let's talk about Austin Ekeler because they're on the same team. He's going to get paid too much money, and I don't want any part of it. Now, Austin Ekeler is a beast receiving back. He's fantastic. Almost had 1,000 receiving yards this season. That is incredible. However, okay, you cannot pay this man. He is not a full-time running back in this league. You cannot run him 3 times in a row. I mean, you can, but the effectiveness is that it's just not there. I know he had maybe over 5 yards of carry this season, and he's had decent yards of carry. But just looking at the build that he has and looking at his tape, his value diminishes when you give him many carries. He's not that type of back. He's not a bell cow type back. He's a very good back. He could be on the field for even 70% of the time. Maybe, 70 is like as high as I can get. Probably even 60. You can't pay him that much money to me. He's going to get overpaid. I think someone might pay him over $10 million a year. I'm out on Austin Ekeler. Now, Kareem Hunt. Now, this clown is now partying because the NFL rules that they are no longer going to suspend players for failed drug tests. So Kareem Hunt can stay on the weed and Josh Gordon can stay on the weed. Everyone's going to be on the weed now that the NFL said that they're not going to suspend players for drug abuse. Okay, this is something that they have now said. He was recently stopped by the police for having a little bit of weed, a little bit of liquor in the car, He's a clown, okay? He's a clown, and what he do? Is he the one that choked? There's too many Chiefs player issues. Is he the one that choked his girl? I know Tyreek Hill, he choked the girlfriend, and he had the kid abuse. I can't remember what Kareem Hunt did. He did something. Yeah, I think he just punched the chick in the face. I can't remember the details. I'm sorry. Let's just stay away. He's a restricted free agent anyway. Let's just stay away. Drama. We don't need that drama in Tennessee. He's a bit of a clown. Matt Breida. Okay, I like Matt Breida. And if he could be had for a decent price, I'd actually really be into this. Because he would be a nice receiving back compliment to Derrick Henry. No more. First of all, you have to cut Deion Lewis, okay? But no more than $5 million, I'm into it. 6, 7, 8 million, no. Because you can't dedicate $20 million a year into the running back position. That is insane. That is ridiculous. I want to have a nice receiving back next to Derrick Henry at a decent price. The best price would be the draft, right? But the draft is hit or miss, and that's probably the route we'll go. But hey, this is an offensive free agent video. Let's talk about free agent. So, Matt Breida, I would definitely be into. 4 or 5 million, I'd be into Matt Breida. I fear he might get like a Jerick McKinnon deal. Jerick McKinnon got like $7.5 million a year by the San Francisco 49ers for not having done much in his career. Someone might give Breida that, like a stupid Oakland Raider team might give Breida $8-9 million a year. But if he could be half for cheap, I'd be into it. Same echelon for Kenyon Drake, who I believe we should have traded for this season. I was on the record of this multiple times throughout the season. I thought we should have traded for Kenyon Drake middle of the season. However, we didn't do it. Now he's a free agent. You can get him now. Again, his price is going to be a little bit higher than Breida to me because he just really came along late. And people have liked Kenyon Drake throughout his career. He might be out of our price tag now, unfortunately, especially, again, if we bring back Derrick Henry. This is only assuming that we bring back Derrick Henry. You would not bring in Kenyon Drake or Matt Breida to be your starting running back. At least I hope not. I mean, dear God, I hope not. Then we get into people I don't want. Carlos Hyde and Lamar Miller, I don't want. And I think Carlos Hyde ended up with over 1,000 rushing yards. I don't care. He stinks. I don't want him. Trust me, that was all just due to the spread out nature of the Houston Texans offense. And look, I will grant, the great power and abilities of Deshaun Watson. That is who you attribute the success to Carlos Hyde to. Like, he ran decently well. He's going to come here. He's going to run for 3.8 yards per carry. He's going to get 4 touchdowns. It's not going to be worth it. Don't talk to me about Carlos Hyde. He's been a below-average running back throughout his NFL career. Last year, he had a decent season. Who cares? He couldn't do anything for the 49ers. They get him out of there. They get an assortment of backs who are now doing something. Carlos Hyde is not worth it to me. Don't even get me started on his stint in Cleveland. Okay, Lamar Miller, no. Okay, this guy, first of all, I can't believe the contract he got 4 years ago. Okay, and now we're adding 4 years on those tires. He was injured this season. Lamar Miller's a no. Jordan Howard, I like Jordan Howard. I'm actually into Jordan Howard. And if we let go of Derrick Henry, it makes sense. If we keep Derrick Henry, it doesn't make enough sense. Jordan Howard is not enough of a receiving back to be a compliment to Derrick Henry because that's what you need. Like, you can get another running type back, another very run-centric type back, but I really feel like you need a receiving back compliment. It doesn't have to be a running back who's only a receiving back, but that needs to be their primary function. Derrick Henry needs to be your primary running back because we know how he needs to get going and rolling. But in the case you let go of Derrick Henry, look, I'd be into Jordan Howard being slotted in as the number one on the depth chart, but you would have to draft running back in the first 3 rounds at least. And you would not feel good about the position. I mean, this will be a significant downgrade to go from Derrick Henry to Jordan Howard. Okay, and this random running back insert name here in the 2nd round. I don't care who it is. I'm sure you love Jonathan Taylor. I'm sure you love this guy, that guy, whoever. It would be a significant downgrade, at least initially. So this is something to do if we don't go back to Derrick Henry. Now, LaShawn McCoy, no. He's done. He's finished. Chris Thompson, I'm kind of into it. Now, Chris Thompson, people don't even know Chris Thompson unless you're in a PPR league. So Chris Thompson, great receiving back, always injured. You can have him for $2 million, $3 million max. Hey, Chris Thompson, will he stay healthy? Probably not. But when he's healthy, look, he's going to do some things for you. So I would kind of be into Chris Thompson. Also, J.D. McKissick, who had a nice little run for the Detroit Lions last year when Kerryon Johnson got hurt. DeAndre Washington, I'd be kind of into it. Bilal Powell, if we don't keep Derrick Henry, I'd be kind of into Bilal Powell. C.J. Prosise, no. I cannot believe C.J. Prosise has been in this league for 4 years. This guy has never played. I've never seen him play. Have any of you guys actually ever seen C.J. Prosise? I see his name all. I've never seen him play. When is he on the field? Have you ever seen C.J. Prosise on the football field? I've never seen it. So no C.J. Prosise for me. Frank Gore is a no. He's too old. Like, I know he had a decent couple years now. He's going up the ranks in terms of rushing yards for the career. No. So, ultimately, you got to re-sign Derrick Henry, dog. I mean, look at these names. These names are booty, okay? We haven't gotten into the draft analysis, and maybe there's some young running backs in the draft that I'm sleeping on. These names stink, okay? The only one that really interests me, like, Melvin Gordon would be fine. But I think Derrick Henry is more valuable at the price tag. I would be into Matt Breida. I would be into Matt Breida, but he's not a starter, only as a compliment. Kenyon Drake, only as a compliment. Austin Eckler, only as a compliment. He's going to be overpaid. Jordan Howard is the best deal here. Jordan Howard is the best deal. J.D. McKissick is a pretty good deal as a receiving back. Chris Thompson is a pretty good, try-it deal. But there's just not enough here, people. There's just not. And speaking of, let's get into this. Let's get into the next position. Let's get into offensive tackles. Let me add some space. I got to add some space after this title card. The offensive tackles are horrible. And this is why we need to re-sign Jack Conklin. And it's not going to happen. It's already over. It's finished. It's like the Democratic primary right now. It's over. Biden won. It's over. It's finished. Jack Conklin's not coming back. His price tag is too high. But let's look at these names then, shall we? Now, Brian Bulaga. Okay, this is the one I would be into. Actually, there's a couple I'd be into. But I would definitely be into the Brian Bulaga because he can be had for cheaper than Jack Conklin. And I think he's as good as Jack Conklin. Now, Jack Conklin is still ascending, and at this point, Bulaga is flat. But you'd be getting around the same play, and you'd probably be getting it for less money. Now, it's hard to pinpoint Brian Bulaga's market value, as he is now 31 years old, so he's older than Conklin. But the right tackle market, especially the last couple of off seasons, has been crazy inflated after the Raiders paid Trent Brown $15 million a year. And Juwan James getting paid $12 million a year as well. Right tackle market is now inflated. Someone will likely offer Brian Bulaga. So, at least, I said it for $9 million, but at least probably 10. Maybe you get it for 9. Maybe. If you get him, you have to get on that immediately. You can't even stop at that. I think Conklin's worth about $2-3 million more. So if you can get Bulaga, and I want Conklin back anyway, but if you can get Bulaga for $2-3 million less than Conklin, I would be okay with that. I wouldn't have done it, but I'd be okay with that. I would. The minor thing again with Conklin is he's only 25. This guy's still ascending. You already know how he looks in your system. Why are you changing anything? I don't understand that. But if you can get Bulaga for $2, $3, $4, maybe even $5 million less, 5 is even possible. Maybe Bulaga signs for $10 million a year and Conklin signs for 15, maybe even 16. It would be a decent trade-off. And I would say, okay, we kind of won. I would honestly say, especially if we got up to $5 million difference, I would say we won there. Marcus Gilbert. So this guy was on IR for the Arizona Cardinals last season. He had been for the Pittsburgh Steelers for, I want to say, 6 seasons, and he's consistently been a good right tackle in this league. Because he was on IR last season, he's going to be had for cheap. I have him slated for $6 to $9 million a year, and it may only be a 1-year prove-it deal, maybe 2-year deal, 2-year max, maybe 3, but probably 2-year max. I'm really into this. This is a nice, cheap little option. Now, you have to hope, and you probably would be right, that whatever injury he had, and I forgot right now, I want to say torn ACL, but I'm just saying that because it just seems like it's right. I don't really know if it's right. You have to hope that he comes back healthy from that. But we had a problem with Jack Conklin coming back healthy from that, and Jack Conklin's younger than Marcus Gilbert. So it would be a budget option, but it would be a good option. Honestly, if we leave free agency with Marcus Gilbert as our new right tackle, I'd be happy with that. DeMar Dotson. Now, this guy's been a consistently good right tackle in this league for the most part. Around $7 to $10 million a year. He's getting up there in age. I think he's 34 now. I don't know why you would go this option again and not keep Conklin, but fine. If you want to go budget, you can go budget here. DeMar Dotson would be decent. Now, after we leave that, we get into some trouble. So, Darrell Williams, look, this guy is still decently young. He's only been in the league for 4 years. He's been moved around the offensive line. He was most recently at left guard. He's played a little right tackle, played a little left. Hasn't really found a home in the NFL at a position yet on the offensive line. He's not bad, but he's certainly not good at this point. I don't know how much he's going to be had for. It just depends on the market for him specifically. I can't really speak to that. We also have Brandon Shell. This guy is really inconsistent. He hasn't been able to give Sam Darnold the protection that he's needed consistently, nor helping the Jets' run game. Mike Rammers used to be regarded as one of the better right tackles in the league, but not quite anymore. Donald Penn, 37 years old. George Fant stinks. Andres P. This guy used to be a right tackle. They tried him at left. They most recently play him at left and right guard. Hasn't found a home in the NFL. You have to hope that you can build up his potential, but he's not ready to start for you tomorrow starting at right tackle. Then we get into some interesting options at left tackle that you could potentially convert to right. So we have Anthony Costanzo. Okay, so this guy's been left tackle for the Indianapolis Colts for a number of years now. Been very good. He's contemplated retirement. I don't think he's going to retire. I haven't heard anything definitive on that. Can you convince him to switch to right tackle? Can you pay him $12+ million a year and say, play right tackle for us? I don't think so, because I think someone's going to pay him to play left. But it's possible, so I listed him. Jason Peters, up there in age. I want to say he's 38 now. Maybe he'd be into the right tackle. I think someone would probably pay him just to come in and play left tackle for a year or two, but maybe he'd be into that idea. Halapuli Vaitai. Okay, so this guy has been primarily a backup for the Eagles. But he's come in, he's played well at left tackle. He's played well at right tackle. If Lane Johnson was out, he played well at right. If Jason Peters was out, he played well at left. But this guy's market is apparently $8 to $12 million a year. Halapuli Vaitai. Okay, I mean, are you kidding me? So they're going to pay Halapuli Vaitai. Say it with me, folks. Say it with me at home. Halapuli Vaitai. That much money. Look at the market for right tackles. Then you're looking at Kelvin Beachum. Now, I would actually be into Kelvin Beachum. So Kelvin Beachum, he's been playing left tackle for the Jets. He used to play left tackle for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Hasn't played right yet. I think he played maybe a little bit of right. But I think it'd be hyper cheap. I think you get it for $5-6 million. Put him at right tackle. I think it'd be decent. Andrew Whitworth, he's getting up there in age. I mean, he's been up there in age at this point. He's like 38. Would he be into right tackle? I doubt it, but I'd put the name out there. Jared Veldheer, nice cheap little option. He actually started for the Packers in their playoff game and in their Week 17 game and did quite well after having retired last season. So maybe he has the new passion for football in him. Maybe he's found a home at right tackle. I would actually be into Jared Veldheer. Chris Clark, and then no, he's one of the worst right tackles in the league. And then Greg Robinson, who was just found for 157 pounds of marijuana. Some of you at home, okay, don't weigh that much, and some of your wives definitely don't, hopefully. It's not that promising. Look, there are options here. In fact, there are more options here than the running back position. Like, we can definitely move on from Jack Conklin and get something decent. We definitely cannot find something decent at running back to me. Except for like some nice, like maybe some okay options. Here there are some decent options. I want Jack Conklin back. He's an ascending young right tackle in this league who's already good. What are we talking about? You keep young, good ascending tackles in this league. You can get someone cheaper. You could probably say 5, 6, 7, maybe even 8 million. Maybe even 8 million and get around the same play, and I think that's what we're gonna do. I think we're going to regret it a little bit, but hopefully we don't. Let me plug in my laptop real quick before it dies. But that's just what I'm thinking right now. So, all right, with that said, we move on to the last couple of positions, and these are just dreams, okay? Wide receiver and tight end. We are not in the wide receiver or tight end market to me, okay? Some people are probably going to disagree with me on this, and that's fine. Tight end is possible only because Jonnu Smith is still not getting paid much. Now, he is entering the contract year of his deal, okay? So he will be a free agent in 2021, but he's still for cheap this upcoming year. As is Anthony Ferguson, who was just re-signed. I don't know the details of that contract, but I'm sure it's not much. So we actually could afford some room in tight end. I just don't think we do it. I think we feel very comfortable with Jonnu Smith and Anthony Ferguson right now, but let's just go down the road. So you have the top two, maybe three, but I don't like that clown, number 3. You have Austin Hooper and Hunter Henry. Okay, so Austin Hooper and Hunter Henry. I think they're going to be a little overpaid. Now, Hunter Henry, I still think he has some decent potential, and I still think he might get paid more than Austin Hooper. Hooper's good, but I think he's going to get overpaid. This guy's going to get paid as much money as Travis Kelce. Ridiculous. Okay, ridiculous. There's no reason why Austin Hooper should get paid as much as Travis Kelce. He should get paid more than Delaney Walker got. He's going to get it. Matt Ryan just threw to him. And look, he has some decent hands, some good hands. And the route running is good. He's not a very athletic tight end. He's not a game-breaking tight end. He's not that. You don't pay $8 to $10 million a year for a guy that's not consistently changing the game. Teams are not game playing for Austin Hooper. He's able to find his way through the defense, get some nice passes, whatever. You do not pay him that much. No, and he's not even that great of a blocker. Don't talk to me about Austin Hooper to $8 to $10 million a year. Hunter Henry, I'm interested in. He has a lot of potential. Can he stay healthy? He missed all of 2018. Too much money for me, especially with our cap situation. But if we went down the road, I'd be like, okay. I mean, I rather would spend money on an edge rusher, but I definitely wouldn't like it, actually, not with Anthony Ferguson and Jonnu Smith. And you all know, I've changed my tune on Jonnu Smith. Then we get into, why did I name this guy Death Devolve? Then we get into Eric Ebron. No. Okay, please, dear God, no, Eric Ebron. Please, no. We cannot afford to have Eric Ebron and Jonnu Smith in the same locker room. That's a no. Now, Jonnu Smith has been doing well. He's been doing well. I like what he's been doing. I've been rooting for Jonnu Smith. But the minute you team him up with Eric Ebron, we got problems. We cannot have these two guys out there running around. No. Okay, Eric Ebron had a great year with Andrew Luck in 2018, 2019. Couldn't do enough with Jacoby Brissett. Was injured a little bit. Couldn't do enough with him. Couldn't do enough with Matthew Stafford in Detroit, who loves to throw the rock. No Eric Ebron for mid plays. Then we get into more realistic names that, hey, can we give a little shot, okay? Because we haven't re-signed Michael Pruitt yet. Tyler Eifert, I'd kind of be into Tyler Eifert. This guy's injured all the time, but I think you can get him for $2-3 million, maybe $4. but I'm going to be into that. Ricky Seals-Jones. I'm a Ricky Seals-Jones fan. This guy is going under the radar. He's consistently gone under the radar. And he still needs to learn how to be a better route runner, more precise route runner, and learn the playbook. But so much potential in this guy. I've liked what I've seen whenever he's gotten the ball targeted at him. I like Ricky Seals-Jones. I'll definitely try for him. Most recently played for the Browns and was drafted by the Arizona Cardinals. Then you also have Jordan Reed. I mean, this guy's head is in the clouds. Okay, this guy's head is in trouble. This guy's gone through so many concussions as we speak. He's still battling the concussion that he had last season. It would just be a 1 year, $1 million, maybe $2 million deal, but give him a shot. Now, who knows? Maybe this guy can actually be healthy for you. Luke Wilson, Mercedes Lewis, Lance Kendricks, Clive Walford, Seth Devolve, all whatever names, some of them decent blockers at least. Because if you let go of Michael Pruitt, you want to get someone in that can run block, at least that can pass block. So that's what those guys can do. Then we get into wide receivers. We're not going to sign many or any significant wide receivers to me. And where did my wide receiver list go? Oh, it was actually on here. Okay, my bad. I didn't even see the wide receiver list on here. So wide receivers, it's a little bit of a wish list. Okay, Emmanuel Sanders. Look, I think he might come. Especially if that boy number 12 comes. If that boy number 12 comes, and a lot of these names have to do with that boy number 12, Tom Brady I'm talking about if it wasn't obvious. I think a lot of wide receivers that you would normally say, they're not going to come to the Titans, would be like, I'll go to the Titans. I'll just pass the Tom Brady as a number 4, maybe number 3 option. I can compete with Adam Humphries. I don't think anyone would beat Adam Humphries out in training camp, but Sanders could. Sanders played very well for the 49ers last year. And I think he could be had for decently cheap. And he's getting up there in age. I think he wants a ring. I think you can get Emmanuel Sanders for $5 million or less, maybe $6 million or less, I should say. I'd be into it. I would love it. He did great for the 49ers. He got targeted more in the Super Bowl to me. I'd be into it. Paul Richardson, who was injured last year, has had injury problems, can now be had for cheap. Laquan Treadwell, who never found footing in Minnesota. I was a big Treadwell fan coming out of college. And we all remember this. Look, the guy did not run a great 40, did not have great track speed. The guy was dominant at Ole Miss. And I know college and in NFL, they're different, but he was too dominant at Ole Miss to be this much of a non-factor in the NFL, especially considering that he's not a clown. Like, yeah, he could learn the playbook better, but he's not a complete and total clown. The guy is humble. The guy has a good background. I've already done my background analysis on that. I'd be into Laquan Treadwell. I'd love to give him a little shot. Chris Hogan, Matthew Slater. Oh, yeah, boy. If number 12 comes, Chris Hogan goes from being a non-entity in the NFL, like someone that should be cut, honestly, to being a real weapon in the NFL. Chris Hogan was able to do some things with Tom Brady. He could do some things with Tom Brady. Again, we could also look at Matthew Slater, who's been the special teams beast and stud for the New England Patriots for quite some time. That is something to certainly look out for. He doesn't really play wide receiver. But, I just listed him here because I feel like if Brady comes in, maybe Matthew Slater comes in. Still, John Robinson obviously comes from New England. So maybe he just wants Matthew Slater because he wants more help on special teams, right? Special teams was huge for us this year. Maybe we want a little more special teams help. Jermaine Kearse, Demaryion Thomas, Jerron Brown. There's some little names. Tajay Sharp's an upcoming free agent. That number 4 wide receiver position is open. We already re-signed Khalif Raymond. Already re-signed Karen Batson. It's possible we don't sign anybody. But it's possible, so I listen. Now, what I did not list were any guards or centers. No. We're going to sign a backup guard or 2 or backup center or 2, but no one worth mentioning. Let's not even go down that road, and who cares? So with that said, that's going to do it for my offensive free agent target list. What are your thoughts on my list? And by the way, I didn't give predictions, so let me give predictions now. Okay, so my predictions in terms of what we're going to do at each position. Again, with Derrick Henry, okay? Derrick Henry, I think he's going to be franchised. I think he's coming back. So running back, Derrick Henry. Will we get a receiving back next to him? No. I think it's going to cost too much money. Although I do think, is David Fluent an upcoming free agent? I want to say David Fluent is. So, I listed these later names like a J.D. McKissick, a DeAndre Washington. I think we'll sign one of those. One of those little names, veterans minimum or very close to it, and then draft someone as to be the main number 2 behind Derrick Henry. So that's my prediction there, but Deion Lewis to me will still be cut. Then you're looking at the offensive tackle situation. So if you really want a prediction out of me, just one little prediction that I can give, I would say anyone with ties. There's not many. There's no one here that actually has real ties to John Robinson except for DeMar Dotson, who's up there in age. He's up there in age. But, if you really want to just get a prediction out of me, I'll say DeMar Dotson. I'll say DeMar Dotson, or they will actually get Brian Bulaga. Okay, I'm going to say either Brian Bulaga or DeMar Dotson. Look, I feel like John Robinson just has to understand that although he can let go of Jack Conklin, he has to have a capable right tackle on that side of the football. When that side of the football was as horrible as it was early in the season, nothing could get done. And also with Nate Davis, look, Nate Davis has a lot of improvement to do. You cannot throw out a clown next to Nate Davis. It's going to be an absolute disaster. I don't want to see it. No one wants to see it. So I'm going to say DeMar Dotson. But if it's not DeMar Dotson, I'll say Brian Bulaga. I say we invest in the position. And then for the wide receiver and the tight end, I'll say we give Ricky, no, I mean not Ricky Seals, probably just going to sign. I'll say we actually sign Lance Kendricks. Lance Kendricks is a decent blocking tight end. He's a decent veteran blocking tight end. He'll come here, be a decent influence on Jonnu Smith and Anthony Ferguson. So I'll say Lance Kendricks. And then for the wide receiver position, I'd love to see like an Emmanuel Sanders or someone, but it'll be someone lame. We might give Jermaine Kearse a shot. And I feel like, you know what? I think we'll sign Chris Hogan. Tom Brady or not, I feel like John Robinson will say, you know what? He'll probably be cut. But let's just go ahead and get Chris Hogan and maybe Matthew Slater. But I think we have too much money to spend elsewhere before we spend a lot to the special teams, because Matthew Slater is probably going to be the highest paid special teamsman that's not a kicker or a punter next season, and he may be more paid than any punter. So with that said, that's going to do it for me today. Sorry, I don't have time to answer questions and comments today, but I should have time next week. So give me your thoughts in the comments below. Thoughts on my offensive free agent targets. Did I miss any? Is there something that I didn't mention? I didn't get to trade targets. Dude, this video was long enough. But if you want to list some trade targets down below, go ahead, feel free to do so, and we'll have a conversation in the comment section. Until next time, this has been MJ of Sports Fan Entertainment. I'm out. See you all later.